This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics. I'm Roby Brock with John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. I went casual today. We went a little later in the day than we normally do. So
right, wanted to wait on the governor's event. Yeah,
we did. Plus,
I wish I'd known that.
I didn't feel like putting a tie on it today. So
Fair enough.
Next time I'll give you fair warning.
Okay. All right.
Let's begin with the way the governor began his press conference on Monday, informing the state of Arkansas that David and Barbara Pryor, former governor, former U.S. senator, many other accolades there too, has contracted COVID-19. He's in the hospital at UMS. She's been sent home, I think, because she is asymptomatic. Where did the Pryors kind of fit into, Arkansas history, number one, but number two, what could this have been in terms of making a statement about COVID-19?
I think the only decent thing Asa Hutchinson said today was this is meaningful because when it happens to the Pryors, it's happening to all of us because they are quintessentially Arkansas icons. I thought it was a powerful, potentially powerful moment. Of course, I'm guilty of putting on Twitter yesterday that I thought the governor was going to announce a mask mandate today. I woke up this morning realizing I'd had some sort of episode and needed to retract that. But I thought he might, because sometimes he will do that kind of thing. But when he came out and he opened with the story of David Pryor, who I believe is the single most beloved Arkansan of our time, at least for my generation, those of us who knew him over these decades. A dear, wonderful, sweet guy who is post-stroke, frail, kind of man I saw in months ago before the virus, being helped around the Kroger store in Beechwood on Hillcrest, and he calls out to me in a frail voice, and I gave him a hug because it's so great to see him out. And now he's in the hospital with this damnable virus. And I thought, what an opportunity then for a segue for the governor to say, this would be a good time for me to say I'm going to sign a mask order, a mask mandate statewide, because it's not about protecting yourself, those of you who don't want to wear it, who don't care. It's about protecting others, and it's about protecting the beloved, vulnerable among us. I thought it would have been a beautiful segue. He didn't take it.
Why do you think Asa Hutchinson is opposed to mandating masks? We see it in other places.
You see it in other conservative states and other conservative governors. All I can figure, and let me just say, I stand accused by liberal Democrats of betrayal in that over the years I've said laudatory things about him. I've been grateful we've had him as our governor because he's kind of pragmatic and he's done some things that I like. And remember how well he started on this virus with his daily briefings, and there was wide accolade. And his approval rating in your latest poll, through the roof, which I think was because of that early job that he did. All I can figure that for his his stubbornness about a mask mandate now, is that he is simply afraid of the right wing. That's all I can think. And I hate to say that, and I stand to be corrected if he wants to come on the show and say, I'm not afraid of anybody, here's the reason. He's up here talking about flexibility. Flexibility is sort of a euphemism for, I want you to do what you want to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. And I think that reflects a personal or political fear, or both kinds of fear, of this cussedly independent right-wing leave me alone attitude, which is so prevalent in modern conservatism, especially in rural Arkansas. I think he thinks I might get away with it in Pulaski County, but man, these folks out here in these other counties. But why would he then fear that if he didn't have continuing political considerations? I don't know. It baffles me.
He did claim in the press conference that the data doesn't suggest that it's making as big of a difference. He cited Benton County as not having any mask mandates and having lower numbers or being on the decline versus Pulaski County, which I think in Pulaski County you have to look at Little Rock and then everything else in Pulaski County because of the size of the county, number one. And if you just look at voting habits in Pulaski County, Little Rock's a Democratic city, but Pulaski County, when you get out in the hinterlands, there's certainly lots of Republican.
Also, sadly, and culturally, the virus has been a respecter of persons. It's had some demographic tendencies. for whatever, low income, African American, Hispanic, have had higher numbers. Benton County is kind of a well-to-do, demographic, less diverse place. But beyond that, I found that an outrageous thing to say. Benton County has had fewer cases. Pulaski County has had more cases. Little Rock has a mask order by the mayor, which is not enforceable. Benton County hasn't. So there you go. Well, you could, by that you could say, there's more car accident, more automobile accident injuries in Pulaski County than in Benton County. So let's not have a seatbelt law. It makes no sense. Anyway, we all know that to me it doesn't. The point of a mask requirement is to encourage the universal use of masks to save lives. It's not to go around with the mask police arresting everybody who's not got, we don't go out here and arrest everybody who's not got a seatbelt buckled up. We don't do it. If you have an accident and that's a factor, then that's a secondary factor in the accident. But yet seatbelts have saved lives, including my own. I was run off the road once, flipped, upside down, airbags all over the place, headrest out in the woods, probably should be dead, but seatbelt, you should see how hard it worked with the abrasions to hold me in. And you know, it did that because I was made over the years by seatbelt public policy to just automatically do that. That's what you're trying to do, is get people in the habit, make it more universal to save lives. And but at the time I was saved with a seatbelt when I was run off the road and flipped, I bet somebody was going down the other lane and not with a seatbelt not on. They don't get a ticket, I get my life saved. That's how that works. So I'm not persuaded, I'm a little worked up, but I'm not persuaded by that kind of reasoning.
We have learned over the past week too, school will start August 24th. Certainly if you read through your Twitter and Facebook feeds, you're going to find a variety of opinions on that, some supportive, many against that. I do sense, and we've got a story out today from the Arkansas Education Association with some serious concerns about sending teachers back into unsafe working conditions, as well as students. Is this a place where the governor may meet some confrontation in terms of a kind of an Arkansas resistance if there is enough pushback on this sending kids back to school? Do you think this could become almost an inflection point?
See, I feel strongly about it, that it's bad policy, it's a bad idea. But your specific question, I'm not sure the mood in Arkansas is such that it is a pushback point. I'm just not. You know, as the governor said today, as if he was happy about it, hey, the virus is spread out. I mean, there's no real hot spots. Don't have to worry about those right now. It's kind of spread out. Everybody's got a little virus here and there.
To me, that's problematic.
I did too. I'm thinking, well, yeah. What's good about that?
If there's a mumps outbreak at a school, you isolate it. Guy Perkins School has a mumps outbreak. We're shutting down Guy Perkins School. When it's all over the place, you don't have a way to shut it all down unless you shut it all down. It is not.
I had the same thought as you. You're saying that's like good. We don't have a hot spot, but it's not. It's conceivably worse. It's a bunch of potential hot spots. The point, I think, right now, as long as there are somebody in a rural Arkansas school district can say, we only got 6 cases over here since this whole thing started, go to school. I think that will be a prevailing view. And then I think the Trump view is always going to have its currency in Arkansas. And the Trump view, I believe, is, I don't care. Kids are going to be okay. Teachers may not, I don't know, but we're not going to rebuild this economy until the kids can get back at school and both their folks can get back to their jobs. I think that's sort of, and I think there's currency for that point of view. So in answer to your specific question, I think he can get by with this school thing. But I've heard you speculate, not you, but some of your guests and others speculate. I don't know if you speculated about it at all. I don't know why I said that. I've heard speculation that this is fraught with peril. A few weeks into the school year, didn't you have Cam Patterson in this very chair? And he was saying, look where it happens. Kids, summer camps, gatherings.
He's worried more about higher education than he is even
because of the
K-12.
age of the professors.
Yes.
And also, he said a college campus, I thought it was a pretty good metaphor, a college campus is a ocean cruise in which, and rather than going back to your compartment, you go back all over the state every weekend, you know?
Or even out of state.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the school thing is highly perilous, made doubly so by the absurdity that the governor and his education department, which now presume to run the Little Rock schools, tell the Little Rock schools you can't mandate masks. Leave that to the parents. Well, displeased with the way things are going on the virus right now in Arkansas in terms of our policy. Am I making that evident at all? I hope that I am.
It is clear that you are making your displeasure well known in this interview.
Yeah.
And we'll see from week to week if there are any changes or improvement.
For context, I thought not shutting down the state was a horrible mistake, and it wasn't. We kept our economy percolating enough, and we managed to flatten. Then we said, oh great, let's go back, and now and the figure that, here I go on a tangent. You remember when I sat here and spouted the governor's line as valid, that the key is not the number of cases, it's hospitalizations. Who's really sick, who's in the, have you seen the hospitalization graph? And he just sort of, well, as you can see, it's going like that. We were holding for all that time at 60 or 70 hospitalized, and now we're nearly 500. And the projections are. What else you got?
You mentioned Trump earlier in
I
your
did.
statement.
He usually comes up.
Trump currency is always here. Late Friday, he commutes the sentence for Roger Stone. Do you think there's any political blowback for Trump on that?
No, not beyond the existing equation, which is 35, 36, 38% love him. The more he does this, and they believe him that he is the victim of the media and Democratic witch hunts. And Stone was just an example of that. And Stone is a guy who fights the political status quo, and therefore he deserves to be pardoned. Doesn't change the equation. It bakes in further, if it needs further baking in, the equation, which that this guy is making his bed for now with riling up his base, further alienating himself from the political center, with the calculation that somehow, if he can get this economy percolating through the plague, maybe he can get reelected. I think that's his calculation. So I don't think the Stone thing, so much of, how many times have we sat here on a Monday and said, well, this one's big. You know, the bounty, the Russian bounty on our soldiers, and he didn't do anything about it. What happened to that? It's
Off
lost.
the radar.
It's lost.
Yeah.
And I think Roger Stone will be lost in a couple of weeks, other than deep in the cake. It's about a 3, 4, 5 layer cake, and it's deep in there like everything else.
So Trump plays to his base with the Roger Stone commutation, yet he also put a mask on. That wouldn't have played with his base, I wouldn't think. Why'd he do that?
I don't know, but I had a theory when I instantly saw it. I've been reading in the elite press, fake news, Trump would say.
Right. Lamestream media.
The people who actually have sources and find out what's going on. And you're seeing evidence of it, that the Trump administration has been percolating over the last 10 days to 2 weeks on a new message, which is, hey, the virus is here, we ain't stopping it, we're going to have to live with it. I believe that's what they're going to say. Live with it. Go to school with it, go to work with it, live with it. And I think as part of that, he may have conceded, if we're going to say that, then maybe I should wear a mask, at least once, you know, to show that that's a way that we can live with it. Because I think that's what you're seeing from the White House, and I think it's going to become clear. They're blaming Fauci and mad at Fauci right now, and they're saying, and they're pivoting to saying essentially, we give up, we lost to it. But their euphemism for that is, it's here. What we have to do is live with it. And I think the one day he wore a mask was when somebody talked him into it, because they told him this will further this message that we're pivoting to. My theory.
All right. He's John Brummett with the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Always good to be with you.
Good to be with you as always.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.